This is the bank of Singapore River. Every year, millions of tourists come here to be awed by these imposing skyscrapers, which manifest the prosperity of this metropolis. However, is this all about Singapore? Not really. Right next to the casino, we happen to find a construction site where there are some workers arduously working. A large proportion of them are migrant workers. They played an instrumental part in transforming Singapore into a modern country, devoting themselves to the development of the island. They came here hoping to bring fortune back to their poor family. Unfortunately, quite a number of them somehow did not achieve it and are still being beset by poverty. Home is a humanitarian organization for migrant workers, providing direct services to those who are treated unfairly and in economic trouble. Here, we met and had a conversation with some migrant workers from China, finding something really astounding. This is a worker from Jiangsu province. In March this year, he came to Singapore and started to work in the construction site. However, his employer didn't give him the salaries and even refused to pay for his medical expense after he got injured. What's more, he was terribly beaten when he tried claiming back his salaries. With only $5 in his pocket and no hope, he came home for help. He talked about his unbelievable life in Singapore.
5块钱就是吃饭，工地上吃饭就去到了165块，他5块5一天嘛，1个月不是165。然后我电话费1个月的话，最低15块钱1个月，这就是180了。反正说1个月下来，净吃那个伙食你也受不了，像我们干体力活的也受不了，对吧？你还去买一点营养品啊，丰富身体，那20块钱你根本就不够了。
Other than his lack of money, he also talked about the living condition at the construction site, which you could never imagine.
宿舍大铁皮房子，集装箱啊，集装箱集装箱，电扇你自己买的，他哪里有连上厕所，公寓就那么大公寓，就4、5个凳子，将近1000把人，你在那，就连上厕所都要排队。上厕所你必须嘛，你要么提早去，迟到的话你必须要半个小时。
During the conversation, he told us that one day his wife in China asked him to send back some money so that their daughter could take part in a dancing contest. He wished he had some money, but he has no money at all. This is also a worker from Jiangsu province. He used to have a happy family in China, although he was not rich. But now, because of the unfair treatment from his employer after he got injured, he is totally in poverty. He would have never imagined that his life could undergo such a drastic change.
那你像我今天起来，我就吃了1根油条，晚上的话再搞个2块钱饭就吃一下，就一天就这样过去了。 你说苦不苦啊？有的时候再喝一点那个白开水，没钱没办法，现在又没钱，有的时候去看毛病都是走着去的，要走1个小时2个小时，啊，可怜吧。
Besides the terrible living condition, he sincerely told us his feelings, his intense grief and sorrow.
白天就是说跟人家说说话、聊聊天还可以，特别是晚上一个人就是想的时候，想自己家里边的人，想自己的这个情况，太苦了。现在这个眼泪都流光了，都麻木了。
He also told us that the only thing he learned in Singapore was to cherish. He said he had a simple life in China, but he didn't value it. Only now has he realized how happy he was, and in the future, he promised that he would cherish everything in his life. Nowadays, there are about 1 million migrant workers in Singapore, and a sizable number of them are stuck in the same situations as those 2 workers we interviewed. They live in terrible conditions, in a big communal room infested by insects, with unimaginable sanitation. They cannot get the salaries they deserve. Some of them are in such extreme poverty that they cannot even afford a set of nutritious meals or frequent call back home. They are totally stranded. However, the role migrant workers played in the development of the country is crucial. Without them, Singapore would have never achieved such prosperity. They're supposed to be treated as heroes, but actually, they're not treated fairly. Some effort has been put by the Ministry of Manpower, but to thoroughly solve the problem and extricate them from poverty, the awareness and participation of the public are much more significant. What can public do so as to help alleviate poverty? We interviewed the assistant in home organization.
If there's any lawyers, what you can do is you can volunteer with organizations like us, like ours, to help them. If you're a doctor, you can volunteer at organizations like HealthServe that opens up free clinics to help migrant workers, and also just spread awareness about the issue. Even though there's almost 1 million migrant workers in Singapore, they're still not very integrated in society. So one of the things that maybe people can do is to just maybe, if there are ways, if there are opportunities for you to say hi, have a conversation with the Bangladeshi sweeping your floor or something, or if you have maids in your house, at home, find out a little bit more about their lives and treat them better.
To conclude, it is not only the GDP that denotes how civilized a country is, but rather how vulnerable groups are treated also signifies the spiritual civilization of the nation. In the case of the migrant workers in Singapore, every citizen must assume his or her own responsibility, contributing to the publicity of the issue and helping alleviate poverty. Only when the workers are treated fairly can Singapore be regarded as a truly civilized and just country, and only when they can get what they merit can they be extricated from poverty and lead a happy life.
May it be